Hello, Brandon. Sean Reitmeyer, GCExperts, the federal contracts guy.
Hey, John, how you doing, man?
Fantastic. Not a scam. I hope you'll figure that out, but
Yeah, no, I've watched your video, or I watched some of your videos, and I've been considering reaching out, and then I was like, I'm going to call him today. And then I called, and my phone was like, this, they thought it was a scam. They're like, we recommend you hang up now. I was like, nah, I'll risk it.
I don't know how they'd be able to get you with just a phone call, but
I
what
don't know.
I don't know either. That's a good one. But how can I
Well,
help you?
so Sean, we're a small business out of Lubbock, Texas, and we're digging more and more into government contracts, but we've been mainly doing for a general contractor. So, they do all the paperwork, legwork, all that stuff, and then we just, we bid it to them, and then they hire us as the roofer for most of the stuff. But we had a project come up on the Dyess Air Force Base, and it ended up being so. Long story short, this company they hit like I want to say $180 million in 4 years in government contracting, and then they got bought out. And now, since they got bought out by a big corporation, they won't take on just roofs, because these guys used to take on just roofs, and we would bid them, make them a deal. So they'd make some on it, we'd make some on it, without having to tack an extra, 25+% and lose it to just a roofing company. But now they're no longer doing those. They're no longer taking on just roofs. And we really want to bid this Dyess Air Force Base one. And we're not 100% sure that we're set up paperwork-wise to do it.
Sure. Well,
So that's
yeah.
what we don't want to lose out on those opportunities because we're not set up. And we're in the middle of a hailstorm here, so having the girls in the office stop just to do all that, it could cost us a fortune.
I hear you. Okay, so there's two paths forward here. One is first of all, I don't know what you've seen of me prior to this conversation, so just take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt.
Yes, sir.
Um, One path is let's just get your paperwork all set up, make sure you can bid this job, and if you guys are the lowest price technically acceptable, it can be awarded to you. That's
Right.
one right out of the gate. We
Right.
can we can do that for a few $100, no big deal. The second path is, do you want to work with me to become what I was in the federal market. A guy that can bid any roofing job anywhere, can bid any construction job anywhere, anytime, get it performed all over the country, no matter what. Because look, I can understand from a quote local roofer perspective that hey, it's another roofing job and that one's got some fucking money in it, so let's go after the
Right.
one that die. Like I understand that. But it's like I just went on a sailing trip with my two best friends of 34 years, and he told me a funny story, just a real short funny story on the sailboat. We were stuck, three guys on the boat for 3 days. And he said the young bull looks at the old bull and says, "Let's run down that hill and fuck all them heifers." And the old bull said, "Let's walk down and fuck them all." Uh, anyway, you get the point.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Yeah.
Let's so really that path is for you to decide, not for me, but generally speaking, that's what I do is work with guys to go after all the federal contracts because that's where the money is.
Right. Right. And we like that idea. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff we could do, I guess. I mean, we're good at roofing. Don't get me wrong. We're good at managing things like that. And we actually used to be the superintendents for these GCs, which is just another set of paperwork we didn't get paid to do, but we did it so we could land jobs.
Sure.
But if we're going to be doing that again, I'd rather be the superintendent and still get paid for it. I mean, yeah, we wouldn't mind going all over the place to do it if we knew we could.
Well, I can 100% guarantee you that part of it. Look, it's all mindset, right?
Right.
Like you didn't wake up when you were 10 years old and go, "Oh my God, I can't wait. Someday I want to be a roofer in Lubbock, Texas." What happened was, you became 18, 19, 20, 21. You started to want some money. Somebody said, do this. Somebody said you could make money doing this. And so this is what you were exposed to. And so, you figured it out because you figured out the more I work, the more I make, and that kind of stuff. And what I would just be exposing you to a different way of making money where, it's like that video we have where we got $5,400 a square out there in California. I didn't go to that
Golly.
job.
Yep.
It was a cedar shake roof. I hired a local roofer out there. Just, if that job was in Lubbock, Texas, you might have gotten that phone call,
Right.
But to you, it's just another roofing job. To me, it's just another federal job that I'm coordinating the guy and I'm saying, hey, Brandon, on this job, just like those other guys said to you, hey, we have to have a representative on site. So, I need to know who your foreman is that he can raise his hand and say, when somebody says, hey, who works for GCExperts, he raises his hand and says, I do.
Yep.
These are all scripts and methodologies for procuring and performing these federal contracts anywhere. It doesn't matter what the work is. There's a Brandon in HVAC. There's a Brandon in electrical. There's
Yes, sir.
it's just a matter of putting the deals together. And there's no
Right.
reason why you can't do both. Like you can run your local roofing crew on the way it's already running, and then you can be doing this other stuff. All across, it's just one of the questions I ask people, and I get all kinds of varying answers, is what do you want to do for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I want to retire eventually, But I've been roofing since, I was born in the roofing business. But you're right. I did when I was in school and thinking about what to do. I did a year of college, and I went, man, everybody I'm seeing getting out of college, they got shit jobs. They're in debt. And I've been making more than they can imagine doing roofing part-time.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do roofing full-time. But I want to get into more of the government work. And now I passed up on bases in Colorado and VAs in Albuquerque because we were terrified that if we bid them, won them, and couldn't do them, of what was going to happen.
Yeah, the consequences. Yeah.
Yeah, because we couldn't spread out. I couldn't be on every one of those job sites, and since we were bidding them with a GC, well, we were worried about the money too, about trying to hire a different company to do it for us and not make anything, and then just be taking on the overhead for no reason.
Yep. Well, I can help you navigate all that. That's all the stuff that I teach how to do. Like that's the thing. Somebody taught you, and you invested a bunch of time to learn all the processes, and in particular the ones that will catch you off guard and screw you over in some way. And so you learn to avoid those, right? And so now you're talking to a guy who has done, nothing but essentially suitcase paper contracting across the United States for 30 years for every trade imaginable. And that's what my teaching, that's what this, workshop that you've been hearing about in the videos is about. And that's why it's 3 days and not 3 hours. You can't teach somebody to avoid and figure out how to do all this stuff in 3 hours. You just piss people off.
Right. And I liked your website. It's just dealing with the sam.gov website.
Oh yeah.
Basically. So we like that because that's never fun to deal with, and then we don't get notifications every time there's an update. That Air Force Base walkthrough, it was supposed to be at 9:30, and it wasn't till late that night. One of my guys said, "Hey, they changed it to 8:30 in the morning." We're like, "Oh shit, okay, now we got to drive there earlier or tonight." And we get there, and it still didn't start till almost 11:30 that day. Wow. But our luck, if we would have missed that email, it would have started at 8:30, and we would have missed it. So not getting those notifications, it can hurt us because they come out a lot on government projects.
They sure do.
So, realistically, I was calling because I was interested in taking your course, and then y'all helping set up, paperwork, things like that. Because I don't even know 100% of what we need because we've always done them through a general contractor. that's done all that.
It's here. You probably, if you've heard this from me on video before, stop me. But this will really light the light bulb off in your head. Um, have you heard my little game about sam.gov registration?
No.
Okay, so we're gonna play a quick little game. It's 2 minutes or less, but I'm gonna give you the answer to the question before I ask you the question. Are you ready for the answer?
Yes.
SAM registration. Are you ready to play?
Yes.
There's one thing and one thing only required to be a federal contractor, and that is a
SAM registration.
So if you sell cake mix to the Navy so they can make cakes on ships, what do you need?
SAM registration.
If you sell bullets or aircraft parts or even construction goods and services, what do you need?
SAM registration.
Okay, now I'm going to play the other part of the game. So you're in Lubbock. You know what an electrical transformer is? Like you can point one out?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to give you 3 scenarios. Scenario number 1, the transformer shall be replaced by a licensed electrician in the state of Texas. Now, that has nothing to do with the company that got the job. All they needed was a SAM registration. But the actual work, you had to hire a licensed electrician in the state of Texas to replace the transformer. That's scenario number 1. We're going to go to scenario number 2. The transformer shall be replaced by a licensed electrician. Well, now any licensed electrician from any state can come into Texas and replace that transformer. Understand, this is federal eminent domain property. There is no such thing as a state inspector going on to a federal job.
Right.
Okay? Again, nothing to do with the guy that got the job. All he needed was a SAM registration. Okay? Scenario number 3, the transformer shall be replaced. Now that literally means that you and I or one of your guys on your team, we can all go out there on a Saturday and replace that transformer. It gets written all 3 ways all the time. You just have to comply with the requirements of the contract. And so that's how a guy like me can go out there and do $1 billion worth of work for the federal government. I have never had a license of any kind other than a driver's license.
Gotcha.
I'm just putting the deals together and making sure that the guys that are out there are complying with the contract requirements.
Right. You're just you're just GCing it.
Just GCing it. Just doing the paperwork.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that's what we want to do.
Well, that's what I teach.
Okay. What are your as far as your classes go, are they in-house? Are they strictly online? Or
so it was in-house for 10 years. We brought people in from all over the country, and we had an in-person class, and then the pandemic happened, and it was like, well, we're not being asked to speak on stage anymore, and I guess this thing's over. But I had been recording all the live workshops from 6 different camera angles. Not because I knew a pandemic was going to happen, just because I thought it was really cool what we were doing, that people were flying in here to learn all this stuff. So during the pandemic, again, I thought it was over. My kid comes home for Christmas and he says, hey, I think you should put this on Facebook. And I went, yeah, Facebook is for pictures of me eating tacos and where your mom's going to find her future boyfriend. And we laughed, and and then the next week was New Year's. He comes over and he goes, no, seriously, what you need to do is make a video that explains what you do. So that video is what you saw probably on Facebook or Instagram or something, where I'm standing in front of that whiteboard explaining, what the deal is.
Yep.
So I did that, and then during the pandemic, I got with some editors, and we edited from multiple workshops because, in some workshops, different people ask different questions and different things come up. And so what I did was I pulled sections from each workshop for all the major topics, and I edited it all together as one, quote, super workshop. And so it's still all the same content. It's live pre-recorded, so to speak. And just like in real life, if somebody raises their hand and asks a question, you can just pause it, pick up the phone, and call me. I mean, as you can tell,
Gotcha.
how hard is it to get a hold of me?
Not hard.
Yeah. I make myself available about 18 hours a day. You sound like you've been around a long time in this business, and I have too.
Trying to call me old, man?
Well, I've been around 30 years. So, guys like you and I, we don't pick up the phone to call a guy like me unless it really matters. Like we don't, we're not calling to see how the weather's in Austin, Texas, because I don't give a shit about that. Guys like you and
Yes,
me,
sir.
if we have a question, we're stuck, and we need to get past the stuck to move forward.
Yes, sir.
And we want to make sure that it's right and we're getting the right answer. That's why we'll pay $1,000 an hour for an attorney than a $300 an hour, because you might not get the right answer. We need the right answer every time,
Yes, sir.
and because in our business it matters, and so
Yes.
that's why I make myself so available, because I end up having interesting phone calls with people that are knowledgeable of this business.
Yes, sir. What can I ask you? In your training, do you go over aspects like their scheduling requirements and things like that?
Absolutely.
Okay, because those are the things we panic about. Like, hey, when we submit a bid, they want scheduling involved. They want this, they want that, and it's like, man, we don't know if we can meet this schedule. But if we turn in a crappy schedule, we may lose the job.
That's right. And I can actually give you a whole bunch of answer scenarios for that particular situation. Like, look, you're talking to a guy who's done $1 billion worth of work, specifically 100% for the federal government. Now, I want you to consider for a second another aspect of this, which is that if you're doing a job that's not federal, if you're going into Lubbock and you're re-roofing a strip center, okay,
Mhm.
is there any public evidence? In other words, can anybody go into your filing cabinet and go, holy shit, you got a $250,000 roofing job? Or is that private information?
It's private, minus anybody that's in our office.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, but nobody down the street can just walk in your office and look at that. Okay.
Right.
But every contract I ever got in my career, is that private or is it public information?
If you're doing it for the government, it's public information.
That's right. So you think I'd ever lie about any federal contract I ever got?
No, because everybody could audit you on it and see.
That's right. And even if
Yep.
you couldn't find it on the internet, you could go to the agency and do a Freedom of Information Act request, and you could get it that way.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when I say I got $5,400 a square for a cedar shake roof, any chance I'm fibbing?
No.
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 Okay. When I tell you that the last 3-ton air conditioner I sold to the federal government, I sold it for $107,000. Any chance I'm lying?
No.
Okay.
No, and I believe it 100% because we've landed some roof jobs for the VA, and those are service disabled. Set aside 100% service disabled.
Yep.
Well, that's what the GC we were working for was. So it didn't matter that we weren't.
That's right.
It mattered that he was.
That's right.
But I landed some almost $5,000 a square, tile and single ply roofs, and then the very next ones, we lost. And we were $500,000. The company came in at 250, and then the company that we normally compete against came in at 850. We were like, whoa, what did we miss? And then we still lost it to someone half our price.
Well, so if something like that happens, I just let them choke on it. Jeez.
Oh, absolutely. The GC that won it has already called us, wanting to know if we would rebid it because his sub decided when they started the scheduling, went, oh man, we can't do it for what we.
I wouldn't even get involved at that point if you were one of my clients. My recommendation to you is just let the whole thing, unless the bonding company gets involved and comes after you, looking to get it done, but not the GC himself.
Gotcha.
That could hurt you.
Well, this is a small mom and pop GC out of San Antonio, and we were like, man, when we were $300,000 cheaper than normally our closest competitor, who's one of the biggest roofers in the U.S., we panicked. And we went, what did we do? Like, we know we're good because we've done the last 12 roofs.
Sure.
So we're fine, but did we miss something? Are we missing an opportunity? We leave too much on the table? And then to get beat out by another $250,000, we went, oh, let them have it. But then he called. So,
is that recent?
My number,
is that recent? Yeah.
Yes.
Let the guy choke on it and let him die. That job will still come out in the future, but if that guy's $250K low on that thing, there are some ways that he could hurt you, and I don't want that to happen.
Right, and we've been the GC we've been working with. he's been real honest with us. We know our contracts mean nothing when we send them to him. It's all about what his contract says. And his
Yes,
contracts basically say he could stuff it down our throat
that's right.
if something was to happen. But we trust each other. We have an understanding, and
That's
we've
absolutely
done.
right. And that's why all my guys, I want them to be the prime contractor because you control the money. I don't want, I almost never want any of my guys to ever be a subcontractor to a prime on a federal contract.
Gotcha.
There's just too many horror stories, and I'm the guy that gets the horror story phone call. Hey, this is what happened to me. I'm like, fucker, I told you not to, sign a subcontract agreement.
Yep. Yeah, and that's where we're. And again, this is another reason I'm reaching out, because this GC was bought out. Yes, they still run this local branch, but they're no longer the owners. So it's one of those things.
Yeah, the landscape is changing. Yeah.
Yes, and we just landed another. We lost that roof on that property, and then our GC won the construction part of a $51 million remodel on that same property. But so they now have a $23 or $24 million contract for the construction of the buildings, exterior and framing, and then another GC is taking on the interior work. Well, that's only 100 squares of roof, and we were almost $700,000.
Yeah.
So it's like, these are going to be phenomenal. Now it's going to be 2 years worth of back and forth, but I need 3 of my in-house guys to go down there, a couple of times a month to put a little roof on, do some copper work, and come back. It's not a big deal.
Sure.
But it's extremely profitable. So we're like, man, we want more of these, but we were relying on our general contractor to want to bid them.
Right.
For us to be able to bid them. And we lost to school. We lost Amarillo High. Now, it wasn't a government contract.
Well, it wasn't federal. It was state, right?
Right, that was state. And we bid it through the general contractor because we were worried about it. And I bid it just under $10 million for the roof. We were the cheapest roofer by $100,000. We lost it because the GC tacked on $5 million for their fee. And a roofer out of Oklahoma won it. And he GC'd the whole thing himself.
Yep.
So he was $17 million for the whole project. Our GC was like $23 million for the whole project. So we lost it, and it was almost a 40% profit job. And we were like, damn it. So we decided right then and there, when it comes to schools, unless it's building that school from the ground up, which we wouldn't bid that anyway. We don't want to deal with building a school. But when it comes to the roof side of things, unless it's some crazy remodel, we don't want to bid them ourselves anyway.
Yep. I can help you do all that.
Okay. Yeah, that would be phenomenal.
Okay.
So what do
yeah, when we get off the phone, can you accept texts on the number I just called you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is
my cell phone.
I called you from my personal cell phone, so you can just program me in there. Look, you were texting earlier with my marketing line, and that's
Gotcha.
And it's not that I don't see everything. I see everything that comes in on that line, but this is my personal cell phone number. You can call me anytime, and as soon as we get off the phone, I'll text you the link to the workshop. We'll get you into the training. We'll get your SAM registration up. When's that first job due that you were talking about at Dyess?
The RFIs were due last Friday, and the bid due date is the end of this month.
Okay, we got time. Good.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'd appreciate it. Just shoot me what you need me to get onto and get started with, and I'll get rolling.
Okay, sounds good. It's good to meet you.
John, you as well. Thanks, sir.
Bye.
Bye.